Welcome back again, math students. Today on your note packet, you should be on page 5. Again, yours says 13.2. I'm calling this one 2.3, again, to match up with our actual textbook. Not that you're using your textbook because we're doing everything on worksheets, but that's the section in our book that uses reflections, which is our topic for today. For reflections, that's where we're going to be flipping a shape over a line. It's going to be a mirror image, and that makes sense for the name, right? Mirrors give you a reflection of yourself or whatever you happen to be looking at. The line of reflection, the line of symmetry, is the line that you're using to reflect over. It's kind of where you could fold your paper and then you'd be able to match up both parts once it was folded. So here is a reflection. Again, we're going to call this a flip. They chose to use a letter B for each of these first ones that we're going to be using because it's clear when it's flipping versus not. So the line of symmetry on this particular example happens to be the y-axis. Whoa, that's really not a very good straight line there for the y-axis, but that's where I could fold my paper, if this was on paper, and have the two B's line up. The blue B is the original one, and then it's getting reflected across that line or over that line. You can say either one, across or over, to get to that green image. Again, image and pre-image are going to be congruent, so they're not changing size at all, but they are going to be facing the opposite way. Okay, so you may want to be making some notes of this in your note packet, but we're not turning this. We're only going to be flipping. And right now we're only flipping. We are not sliding it like, yes, the last lesson from Tuesday. Again, that line of symmetry is going to be really important because everything is exactly the same distance away from itself on the other side. So for instance, to go from this point, which isn't really at a grid mark, but it's going to be the same distance away as this one. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 units away from the line of symmetry or the axis of symmetry. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same on that side. So when we reflect over the x-axis, in the left, you can see this is reflecting over the x-axis. Let's say that we are going to use the blue images as the blue ones are going to be the pre-images, the green will be the new image. So you can see that this blue triangle in the left one is going to just flip upside down. So this point right here at -5, 5 is going to end up down here at -5, -5. What happens on each of these ordered pairs, I want you to notice, is that the y coordinate, the y number, is getting multiplied by -1. Really, it's just going to change all the signs. So from this one, this was at a +1. The new image down here is at a -1. This was at a +1. Now it's at a -1. That's when we reflect over the x-axis, the y changes signs because it's moving up and down. When we reflect over the y-axis, so here's my y-axis, I am moving my shape sideways, which means that the x is going to change signs. So for instance, this point right here at -5, 1, when I reflect it, moves over to this point right there, +5, 1. Same distance away from the line, because it's -5 for the first one, +5 for the second one. But again, the x's are going to change signs because we're moving sideways. So a lot of students, when they see these, if they reflect over the x-axis, they want to change the x number. But remember, the x is not going to change. It's the y that changes when you reflect over the x-axis. And then when you reflect over the y-axis, it's the x that changes because you're going sideways for that. This is on your Hurt Your Eyes pink sheet. This is just what we just said. If you reflect over the y-axis, you're going to multiply the x number by -1. If you reflect over the x-axis, you're going to multiply the y number by -1. So these are the example problems that we're going to go over. we've got triangle ABCD, and it's already graphed there for you. I want to reflect this over the x-axis. So again, because it's reflecting over the x-axis, so without even worrying about numbers or anything, here's my x-axis. Point C is 1 unit above the x-axis, so I'm going to go 1 unit below the x-axis. That's C prime. Again, because I reflected over the x-axis, the x doesn't change. I'm not moving sideways at all. I'm moving up and down. So C prime, I can just write it right here. Instead of being at -1, +1, it's going to be at -1, -1. I know I'm not doing these in the right order, but that's okay. Point A is 2 units above the line, so 2 units below would be A prime. And again, point A started at 5, 2. My new point is going to be at 5, -2, just change the y. B is 1, 2, 3 units above, so I would go straight down 1, 2, 3 units below. That's B prime. Here's my triangle. I know I still have to get the ordered pair for B. B was at 1, 3. Now it's going to be at 1, -3. Okay, here it is looking a little bit better than my graph. And here are the ordered pairs. Again, however far you are above or below the x-axis, that they should match for the image and the pre-image. This time I'm going to reflect over the y-axis. Because I'm reflecting over the y-axis, the x's are going to change. All right, so for point K is 2 units away from the line. Here's K prime. So the point was at 2, 3. So now my new point is going to be at -2, 3. Reflect over the y, you change the x sign. Point L was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units to the right. So now I'm going to go 5 units to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not going to put all those points because it gets a little bit crowded there. But that's going to be at -5, 1. Point M is 1, 2, 3, 4 units to the right, so 4 units to the left. Right here is M prime, and that's going to be at -4, -2. A little bit messy there, sorry. And point N is 1 unit away, so 1 unit to the left is going to be N prime, and that'll be at -1, -1. Again, if this is going too fast, feel free to pause it so you can get that. And then here are the list of ordered pairs, which we already have. For this practice problem, we've got this quadrilateral. Quadrilateral just means it's got 4 sides. We already graphed the figure for you. So we've got QRST is on the graph already. That's the pre-image. And now we want to reflect it over the x-axis. I want you to notice that point T is on the x-axis. Means that T and T prime are going to be exactly the same place. So we could even start with that one right here, reflecting. If I would fold over the x-axis, T prime would stay right there. So that's also going to be T prime. Okay. S is 2 units above, so I would go 2 units below. R is 1, 2, 3 units above, so 1, 2, 3 units below gives me point R prime. And then Q is only 1 unit above, so 1 unit below. Okay, finding all of those ordered pairs. Again, I honestly prefer the rule instead of like actually counting out these ordered pairs. Not that any of these are all that difficult, but I'm reflecting over the x-axis. That means that the y number is going to change. So Q prime will be at -1, -1. R prime will be at 0, -3. S prime is going to be at 3, -2. And T prime stays 4, -0 isn't a thing. It's just going to be 4, 0. And for the last one, again, we already graphed the pre-image, the original figure. We want to reflect over the y-axis and then find those ordered pairs. So we've got X, Y, Z here. X is 1 unit to the right, so 1 unit to the left, X prime. Y is 2 units away, and Z is 1 unit away. So reflecting over the y-axis changes the x sign. So x prime is going to be at -1, 2. Y prime is going to be at -2, 1. And z prime is going to be at -1, -2. Today's worksheet has several problems where you are just graphing, reflecting across the x or the y-axis. Then you've got 2 problems where we have the original image and the new image graphed. You have to decide if you're reflecting over the x-axis or the y-axis. And then for 7 and 8, you can graph them if you need to, but if you can use the rules to just figure out what the new ordered pairs would be reflecting across each axis, you wouldn't have to do any graphing. You could just write down your ordered pairs. So if you have any questions about that, let me know.